Guys, welcome back to the Kneady Homesteader channel, and today we're going to do a fun video together. This is going to be a video reply to my girlfriend LeAnn over at Mennonite Farmhouse. I will leave a link to her video right up there in the corner. If you don't see it, because I know some devices it doesn't pop up, I'll leave a link to it down below in my description box. But she hit me up, oh, LeAnn, what was it, like a week or two ago, and she was interested in making the like a copycat recipe for the Subway Italian herb and cheese bread. And so that sent me down a rabbit hole because I went and I searched what I thought was the closest copycat recipe. Now, I've been making bread for about 11 years. With that, you kind of can read a recipe at this point and know if it sounds a little off or if it's going to work. Saw this recipe over on, and I'm going to leave a link to this website down below so you can have the recipe. All the credit goes to her. Better Baker Club. She made what I thought was the best copycat recipe. So we are going to make that together today. I am going to add a little bit of potato flake just to make the bread slightly softer, because I will be using my sourdough. So in her recipe, she makes a poulish with you, which is, you know, kind of like a quick starter, like a quick sourdough starter, but you let it sit overnight. We are going to be using our sourdough starter because I know so many of you are with me on the sourdough journey. So if you have sourdough, this is what we're going to use. And this is going to be another kind of tweaking that I do to her recipe. If not, if you don't do sourdough, go to her recipe and do it step by step the way that she shows it, because it is a fantastic copycat recipe. I will say the key that I found was to actually use the actual mold that Subway uses. Now, I did find a gentleman who works at Subway. His parents own a Subway. Let me give his channel a shout out. Jeremy Bell. I'm going to leave a link to his video up above. Specifically, I'm going to leave you the video of Subway training how to cut bread, just so that you can watch it. Now, from his video, and also the lady who did the copycat recipe, she also uses the mold. He uses the mold at Subway. You can buy this mold on Amazon. It's like $15. I will leave a link to it down below. It worked so well, I bought a second one, so that when my older boys come up, and if I ever need 10 loaves of Subway rolls, I'll be able to do that. So we're going to fit this in a cookie sheet tray, but the mold is, I just think it's key, because I'm going to bring it up to you, and you can see, let's see, we'll focus. It gives that same texture that's on the back of the Subway rolls. You know how it has the little, I don't know, it's like a little beading that's in the dough? This does it. And it gives a phenomenal crust. Now, Jeremy also uses water. So we're not going to be egg washing this or anything like that. We're going to be using water to help expand the dough and to help our toppings to stay on. So with all that said, I'm gonna move you over to the mixer. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna make some Subway sub rolls. Last week when I made this to test out the recipe, because I never like to just test out a recipe. I know a lot of YouTubers do that. They'll just turn on the camera and test out a recipe with you. I don't like doing that. I don't want to waste your time if a recipe is no good. So I like to test it out first and do any tweaks that I like to do to it. Sometimes I'll make it a couple of times and before I make a video, because if you're watching a video, I want it to be edifying for you. So with that said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna make this. And yeah, I made, oh, that's what I was gonna say, brain damage. last week when I tested out this recipe, I made meatball subs with this sub roll, and it was fantastic. In fact, Eric, my 21-year-old, actually Mason did too. They said it was the best sub they ever had in their life. So I think you guys are really going to love this recipe. So without further ado, let's get started. So now, because I'm using my sourdough starter, we are going to just and get to grams. Then we're gonna tear this out, and I want 140 grams of starter. And before I do that, I'm just gonna have you take a look at that starter. This is happy, healthy starter. So, all right, it's gonna work today. It's gonna do some work today. Okay, so we want 140 of this. Okay, all right, enough playing, Heather. I'm gonna put in 140. Okay. And I always go a little bit over because I don't like having to scrape every, you know, ounce of it out of my container. So now we're gonna go right back over to the bowl, and then go ahead and pour this starter in. And then this way, I got 10 extra grams here. I don't have to scrape my bowl too much with. Okay, so there's our starter. Now, you can follow her recipe to a T, but like I said, I'm going to tweak mine a little bit. This is just one tablespoon of instant yeast. I use SAF, or Safe brand SAF. I think it's SAF. Okay, and then to this we're also going to add 2.5 tablespoons of sugar. Okay. We're going to add 1 cup of lukewarm water. Okay, this is where I'm going to deviate from the recipe a little bit. I am adding 1/2 cup of instant potato flakes. Just because I'm using sourdough starter and I love the crunch of the crust, but I really want the inside of the bread to be super soft like Subway's. So we're going to give that a try. I think that's going to make a huge difference. Now, normally I would use my KitchenAid sifter and a scale, but it's kind of loud for the video, so we're just going to do it by hand here. I'm going to add, to get it started, it calls for 3 cups of flour, and I found that I needed more than that, so we're going to get started with 3 cups and then add as we need it. So this is all 3 cups of bread flour. Now her recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I don't use vegetable oil, so I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of extra virgin organic olive oil. But that's totally up to you, again, if you want to deviate. And then right on top of that flour, I'm going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. I am using sea salt. Okay, now we're going to lift up that bowl and we're going to get this started, and we're going to watch it. We're going to set it on a 2 on the KitchenAid mixer. You never want to go more than a 2 if you have your bread hook on. And then we're just going to watch this and see how this mixes up and see if it needs any added extra flour to it. I'm going to get my tablespoon here. When I add extra flour, I usually do a tablespoon at a time, but just be patient because sometimes it takes a minute for a dough ball to form. I think with adding the potato flakes, this might make it so that it might not need a whole lot of extra flour, but we want to get that bowl, the sides of the bowl clean, but we don't want a tough dough, so there's a balance, and that'll just come with time and experience. So far, so good. It is looking beautiful. Okay, now, yes, you'll hear my KitchenAid clunks. That's because it's a Proline 7. It's a all Metal Gear motor, so it clicks. Now, when I watch this, I watch for the bottom of my dough. If I start noticing see how it's really starting to stick? It's going to start falling apart. So before it does that, I'm going to go ahead and add a tablespoon of flour, because I can already tell that's what it's going to need. And it's going to need a little bit more than that. So I'm going to just sprinkle another tablespoon right on top. And I'm going to give that a minute to get mixed in there. We want to get it to where it's going to form a ball and it's not going to fall apart on us. But you don't want it tough. Sometimes you just be light-handed with the flour, and I can already tell, see how it's sticking? I know I'm keeping this in because I know so many of you appreciate this part, because this is where most people struggle. I know this is where I struggled for the longest time when I was learning how to make bread. Like, how do you know? How do you know? Okay, we're going to sprinkle some right on top. You can tell it's still sticky. Now, I think LeAnn said when she used this recipe, she ended up adding a whole cup extra. But everybody's flour is different, and your kitchen temperature, like, there's so many factors that go into making bread, which is what makes making bread for me really fun, because every day it'll be a little different, depends on how dry your flour is, the brand, how old it is. I mean, so many factors. Okay, we're getting very close. I'm just going to add just the tiniest little sprinkle. And a tiny little sprinkle on this side. Tiny little sprinkle. You can always stop your mixer and feel your dough too. Make sure it's not sticking to your finger. That's really good. Do you see that? See how it's not sticking to my finger at all? That's really good. Just going to add the tiniest little sprinkle. And I think we are good to go. So there is our dough. I'm going to go ahead, take my dough hook out, and put it in my sink. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're just going to scrape this. Oh, it already smells so good. I'm going to try to scrape as much as I can too off of the bottom of my bowl. Get that in there too. Okay, so now you shouldn't have to put any flour down. We don't really want to add any more flour to this. We just want to kind of knead this into a beautiful dough ball. Okay. I like to pinch mine on the bottom, make sure it's all beautiful. You can roll it. Okay, Now, I'll show you that. Hopefully the new lighting in here is better. But that's beautiful. Beautiful, nice and soft. I should take a picture. All right, hold on. Let me see the backdrop here of posting for you guys over on the Instagrams and on Facebook. And if I remember, try not to over spam you on YouTube. But I'm gonna take a picture of this. And I'll take a picture of you guys. How's that? You guys can see yourself. Smile. Okay, stop it, Heather. You can tell I have kids. Okay, there's our bowl. Doesn't have to be neat and clean, okay? And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put our dough ball right in here. And then we're gonna let it rise. Now, yeah, I was gonna make another loaf of bread, sourdough. Oh, I want to try to make s'mores sourdough, but I think I'm gonna have to feed. I don't think I'm gonna have enough sourdough starter, so that might have to wait till tomorrow. So what we're gonna do here, we are gonna take a damp. I like to take a damp flour sack towel, or like just use a. I like to use a cotton towel of some sort. I like to wet it, wring it out, place it on my bowl like that, and then I just tuck in the extra in the handle. Now on my stove I have a proofing option, which is one of the reasons why I bought this stove, for bread. If you don't, put it in your oven with the light on. The light is really, it's going to give it just the right amount of warmth in the oven to let this rise. This is going to rise for an hour and a half to 2 hours. I'm going to set my timer for an hour and a half. I'll come and look at it. I just want it to double in size. But if we have to wait for 2 hours, that's fine too. I will bring you back when we're ready to get this into sub slices, if you will. All right, I'll be back. It's been just about 2 hours and we have a big bubble. We're gonna deflate on that. All right, so there we go. So now we're going to go ahead, clean hands. I'm just gonna push it down. Okay, now bring that out. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and press this out, and I'm gonna kind of do it long ways so I don't struggle with trying to form the dough into long sub rolls, because if you put them in like a circle, it's gonna be really hard to like stretch it back out. So we are going to be weighing in ounces, 6.5 ounces for each. Now it says in the directions 4, but the mold makes 5, so we're doing 5. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as long as they're at least 6.5 ounces each, will be good. All right. Okay, so that's 5.9. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit off of our bigger pieces. That's 6.6, so I'm happy with that. Okay, so I'm going to set that one aside. Measure this one. That's 5.7. So take a little bit. It's 6.1. That's pretty close. Let me see what I got in the other ones. 5.9. Let me see what this one is. 6.6. 6.7. I'll just put a little bit on this one and a little bit on this one, and I'm going to call it good. Okay. I shaped the first one because I wanted to see how I wanted to do these. So this is how I'm going to do them. I'm going to take this and I'm going to fold it in half like that. Then I'm going to push, actually I'm going to do it the other way because it's the oily way. And then I'm going to press it together. And then I'm going to like really press together these seams. Press together this seam. Okay, and then I'm just going to roll it. I don't want to make it longer, but I want to roll. Get all of that together. So together, roll. And then I'll show you on the plan that it is the perfect length. Okay, so it might take you first try to figure out how you want to do it. And that's how we're going to do it here. Hold on, let me get you aimed up a little bit. All right, so oily side in. I'm going to do it for all of them. Oily side in, fold in half. Oily side in, put that little extra bit there. And then we're going to pinch the seams together. I'm going to do it on all three. And on the end. So, just pinching, pinching. Basically all the way around. Pinching, pinching, pinching. Okay. And then we're going to roll. Now, you don't have to have that Subway mold. You can use your USA. I've got a USA pan for baguettes. I wouldn't use the Italian loaf one because it's so big. Unless you want to do big subs, you can do big subs and then cut them up and feed your family. That's how I've been doing it for years. But if you really want to do a Subway copycat, I strongly suggest you buy the shaper, the mold. Like I said, 15 bucks. I will leave it down in the description box if that's something you want to do. Especially if you're like me, you know, you cook for kids and kids love sub sandwiches. I love a sub sandwich. But making your own, although I heard that you can actually go and buy the Subway rolls, but they have so much stuff in them, you know. This is, you know, simple ingredients. You know what's in them. So, okay. I'm going to lay that in my form. Beautiful. And then do the same thing with this. Get it. Sometimes you can feel like little air bubbles in there. Just pop them out. Trial and error. Might take you, if you've never done it, Might take you a couple tries to figure it out. It's part of the fun adventure of baking bread, in my opinion. I'm testing out 2 sourdoughs right now, right there. We'll see how they turn out. If they turn out good, then I'll make you a video. If they turn out bad, then I didn't waste your time. Okay, there's another one. And then I'll do this one. Sorry if I sound huffy today. I woke up in the middle of the night to 2. Well, the first one was like an allergy attack, but the second one was a full-blown asthma attack where I had to take my inhaler. This weather's just been awful. It's so dry. And then the weather doesn't know what it wants to do. It goes from like being -20 to like today being, I think it's supposed to be like 37 today and 40 tomorrow. So my lungs have just not been the same since the accident, and I had that lung collapse on me and partially collapsed the other one. And so on days like this I kind of struggle a little. Alright, this one I want to roll a little bit more. See how it's got like a seam? I don't like that. That was my first one. I'm just gonna kind of press that together and let me give that another roll. Now that we have it in the mold, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make our topping. And then we're going to come back and we're going to top these. We're going to score them. And then we're going to let them rise a second time before we bake them. So, because they're sub rolls, I find it easier to add your topping if you just use a cookie sheet. It's just easier to roll with less mess. So let me go get the ingredients for the top. Okay, so my topping is a little bit different because I found, my family likes a lot of flavor. So I like a lot of seasoning in things. In fact, if you want to put some seasoning, some herbs in the flour, in the dough while you're making it, you could do that too. I didn't do it because I wanted to try to stick pretty close to the recipe, but yeah, when I'm not on camera, I will probably be adding that to my bread dough. So I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of this is a Parmigiano Romano cheese blend. Okay, I'm just gonna put it right on my tray, and then I'm gonna add about a tablespoon of sweet basil. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of Italian seasoning, which you can make your own if you don't want a combo, but I'm gonna use that because it's all blended with oregano and marjoram and all that. I'm gonna use a tablespoon of parsley, and then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of garlic. Okay. Now, I also like to use flaked sea salt. I just love this stuff. I think it's amazing. So I'll be adding a little bit of that. I'll show you what that looks like in case you've never seen it. But I felt like, and at least my family enjoys a little bit of that salty flavor. Now, in her directions, it says to go ahead and add your cheddar cheese to this, but I just find that does not work well. So we're gonna do the blend first, and then we will top it with the cheese after we get this topping on, the herb topping. So there we go. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of Kind of scoop all that towards the center. Get a towel here. All right, now here's our bread there, okay? Can you see? Let me see. Okay, so for now, Subway, because I watched many videos on making this and how Subway actually makes theirs, okay? So they use a lot of water. Okay. And then we're gonna take one of these and we're gonna just, now you can coat it both sides if you want. I'm gonna put a little on the bottom too, just for some flavor. But you're just gonna kind of, hold on, let me move you down so you can see. There we go, can you see? There. Okay. So we're gonna just kind of roll that and lay it down, okay? So we've got number 2. If we gotta add more herb, we will. But that should do it. Okay. I find this is a good amount. Half of this, just to me, isn't enough. And I don't know about you, but when you get the Italian herb and cheese, it's all about the seasoning, right? So, okay. And that's the last one. Now, I'm not going to waste this. This will go in a little baggie. And I can top another bread with that. But I'm going to just kind of fill in a few of these little empty spots. Okay. And then the rest of that I will save. Alright, let me wash my hands. Okay, now Subway has 4 cuts in each of their footlongs. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take my score and we're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to do it super deep. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I'm just going to take a little bit of that flaked salt. And I'm just going to kind of put a little bit on here. Now we're going to let this rise for another 30 minutes. In the meantime, I'm preheating my oven to 375 degrees. And before we get this in the oven, we will top it with the cheese. Okay, I'm not adding that until the end. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, cover this with my clean, damp towel, and I'll see you guys back here in 30 minutes. We are back. We're about to bake, and Danny is here with us. Say hi, Danny.
Hi, Danny.
Okay, ready? Oh, it smells so good.
Oh, it does.
We've got to figure out how to do like smell-o-vision. But there you go. Now, the Subway guy said you always want to pull and stretch. He said if you don't get a 12-inch sub at Subway, it's because when they go, before they bake it, they forget to pull it. I didn't know that, so now I'm going to make sure that I do that. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just spray lightly, because I just want to make sure the cheese sticks. And then we are using marbled cheddar. So, I'm not going to overdo it though. with the cheese. Let's put it down there. Now we're gonna have subs for dinner, right, Danny? Oh, I've got tuna. I've got tuna salad in there. I've got the only thing we'd have to do is just run to the grocery store and grab some lettuce and some tomato. But I've got tuna salad in there. I've got honey ham. We've got salami. We've got buffalo chicken breast, pepper turkey, and then we've got provolone cheese, pepper jack cheese, this ghost pepper cheese. What is it called? The one that did Eric likes? It's like a ghost pepper cheese. What was the name of it? Do you remember it? Offhand? I don't remember it. We get it at the Mennonite store. They've got a deli now, and they've got a phenomenal choice of lunch meats there. So we've been trying things, different
Jumping
things.
Jack cheese?
That's it, Jumping Jack. It's hot pepper cheese. Anyway, there we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this in a 375-degree oven. We're gonna bake this. We're gonna bake it for 20 to 25 minutes. And when I bring them out of the oven, I will bring you back and I'll show you what they look like. Here we go, you guys. There it is. Subway sub rolls. Now I had a little splitting, and then there's some splitting on this side over here on this one. It just goes to show, no matter how hard you try, sometimes bread just has a mind of its own. But there we have it. Okay, so they're hot right now. I'm gonna get them out of the mold. Let me set you up here and show you. Let me get a rack. All right, so now we're just gonna pop them out of the mold. Might stick a little. Okay. I'm telling you, I think this mold is a game changer. So I would say if you plan on doing this often, making sub rolls often, just invest in it, because it gives the prettiest crust. And I don't know, let me see if I can get you focused in on it. There we go. You see that crust? And it's so pretty, but it's that bumpy little texture that you get on Subway sub rolls. So I think it's worth the investment to buy it if you're gonna make this often. All right, let's get this out. Let's set that, and then let's get this one out. Okay, and then I'm just gonna move this back to my stove top. So good. Try not to burn myself. All right, I hope you guys give this a try. Go over, visit her website, put your own twist on it, you know. I know we're gonna do sub sandwiches for dinner. I have, you know, a whole lot of stuffings in the fridge that could be used on this. I'm gonna see if I can't open up, I'm gonna open up my first one. See, they get better with practice. I'm gonna open up this one just to show you the texture. Okay, so I'm gonna cut into this. Okay, and there's the inside. There we go. Look at how beautiful. Oh, so good, so good, so good, so good. Cut off a piece. I want to see how soft it is. I mean, it's still really warm, but looks really soft. Oh, that's good. The potato flake. The potato flake. I say add the potato flake. You're going to love the results. All right, hold on. I gathered the kids. All right. I'm going to cut you off a fresh piece here with seasonings for both of you. All right, Miss Mina. There you go.
It's really
All right, Danny. Now it should be softer because I added potato. That good?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Subway who?
That's delicious.
That's delicious. All right, we're gonna just slice it open like a Subway.
Oh, so good.
Oh, so good. There we go. You could even use this as garlic bread. I have no idea if I even recorded that you could turn this into garlic bread if you wanted to by just melting some butter, adding some garlic and some parsley, brushing it on and baking it. Oh, you could even put some melted cheese on it. Look at that. Do you see? Oh, you can buy. Oh, that's a good, hold on. There we go. That's a good focus. Can you see the texture that the mold leaves? So good, and it leaves that Subway crust that Subway bread has. So I hope you give it a try. You know, play with it, make it your own recipe. Your family will love you for it. Look at that, loaded. Mason's over here doing a bread dance and trying to scoop up all the herbs that are falling on the cutting board. And I don't even know if there'll be any left for dinner. Who knows? But I hope you give it a try. If you have any questions, leave them down below for me. I'll try my very best to answer them for you. But I do hope you give these a try. Let me know if you do. And I'll be seeing you soon. God bless.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.